Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. I got an 05 Chevy Impala, and it stinks like raw gas when you start it up in the morning or when you come to a stop sign or stoplight. There's no gas leaking anywhere. You can't smell it on the outside of the vehicle. Took it down the road, still get 31 miles a gallon with it. I didn't know what it could be. It doesn't stink when you're driving it down the open road, just when you start it up in the morning, or even in the middle of the day if you start it up, or if you come to a stop sign or something where you sit there for a little bit.
Is this car in a garage?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen a check engine light on at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, because when the cat goes bad, the exhaust can smell richer of fuel because the cat's not burning it all.
I think he's smelling raw fuel, and I think what he's got, if he's got no leaks in the ground and he's smelling raw fuel, and I think he can determine the difference between a rich exhaust, because the rich exhaust can be really a sickening smell, and the smell of gasoline. He's got an evaporative system leak. That car is equipped with an evaporative emission system, which vents the tank through a series of valves and vapor canisters and all this kind of stuff. And that's all part of the emission control system, which is actually a very beneficial system because not only does it keep the hydrocarbons from going into the atmosphere, it stores the evaporative emissions. In other words, as the fuel starts to evaporate, it stores it. And then when you drive down the road, the purge canister is purged and puts back into the intake manifold, so you actually get to use that fuel. So it improves your fuel economy. I'm guessing what you've got is either the fuel tank, where the pump goes into the fuel tank, the O-ring's leaking there, the purge valve, they got a pressure sensor valve for fuel tank pressure. Something like that is leaking, and it's not leaking much. It's just leaking fumes. And, gasoline fumes can really travel, especially when you're smelling it in the cabin. If you have this thing leaking in the rear, the way the ventilation system's set up, it could easily be pulling those fumes in and you smell it. It's probably not dangerous at this point, but it's going to become worse. But it's time for someone to really do an inspection of your entire evaporative emission system. And I'd be willing to bet you, if they dropped the tank down, first off, they look at the easy things, but if they dropped the tank down and took a light, you'd see stains around where the pump goes into the tank.
Also, you're in South Dakota, cold weather, pretty harsh on O-rings. You'd be surprised how a loose fuel cap driving down the road can smell like fuel so strong. I've had it happen to my own vehicles, different vehicles where the gas tank is going to be the filler is on the driver's side. If the gas cap is loose, you'll smell fuel. In most cases, though, it'll throw a code. In like a vent solenoid on the evap system, it'll throw a code. But a lot of times, it'll be under pending. It'll go through a systems check. It'll be an intermittent problem. The code will never really light. So you won't know unless you go under a pending or a memory.
How many miles are on your Impala?
110,000.
Okay, it's 110,000, and it's 13 years old.
No, 8 years old.
Excuse me, 8 years old. Thank you.
That's okay.
So I'm doing 2013, doing the math.
I got a calculator.
Thank you. 8 years old. Go back to school. I would invest in a new pressure cap. Fuel tank cap.
From Stant.
Yeah, buy a good Stant cap. Put that on. That's a cheap and easy thing to do. If your cap's not bad, you're not wasting money because the cap's going to go bad. Caps only last so long, and the cap has to seal totally in order for the evaporative emission system to work properly and not set the code. And like Sam said, it may have an imminent code or a history code, a pending code. So that's the first step. That might take care of it. If that doesn't take care of it, like I said, then it takes someone with good eyes, a light, and a mirror to go along. Start at the fuel tank, look at all the sensors on the tank, the lines coming out of the tank. And believe me, it doesn't take much of a leak
to show a residue, show a sign.
Right, and to have you have fumes in the cabin.
All right. That's what I was wondering. Would that affect my mileage at all? If I was leaking fuel?
If you were leaking liquid fuel, yeah, but evap is just vapors. So
right.
No, it won't affect your fuel economy in that case.
And I'm looking through all of the service bulletins for that car, of which there's a bunch of them. I have not seen anything.
Not one for smell.
Not one for vehicle smelling of raw fuel.
So go to your local O'Reilly, pick up your Stant gas cap, install it, make sure it's nice and tight. When you're turning it, put a little downforce into turning it as well. I know people just turn it and go for a click, but you want to do a little downforce so the O-ring really seals. and then drive it around and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, like Sam said, you got to go to a good mechanic that can really do a good systems check of the evap, maybe even with a smoke machine.